At the Pro Tour news desk for a long time. I beat Makihito Mahara in round 3. It hurt me to do so. That was fantastic. Stephen Madden of Northern Ireland, great job by him. He's 2-1 in constructed, 5-1 overall. I can tell you that the players are ready to rock and roll. So why don't we get down to the feature match area, the home of drama, the home of magic. Here comes round 7.
Hello there, welcome back to the booth. That's Randy Buehler, I'm Marshall Sutcliffe, and we're ready to head down for round 7 action here from Pro Tour Dragons of Tarkir. Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Dragons of Tarkir. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Buehler, and we are just about underway in round 7 here. In our main feature match, we've got Olle Rade, our 1996 Player of the Year.
The first.
That's right. And
the first Player of the Year.
Yeah, he's still battling, and his opponent is Namsung Wook. And he got second at Pro Tour Journey and next also first at GP Melbourne. Now, also in our feature match area, we have Mikel Ancona, who we just saw on camera, versus Patrick Chapin, playing against Felipe Valdivia from Chile. Also, Shota Yasuoka, with his blue-black control deck, has found another player who is partial to such things. Adrian Sullivan, they're battling. Craig Wesco and Ben Friedman are fighting it out on our text table as well. But let's take a look here at what Olle is up to. He has started off with an Elvish Mystic.
Yeah, he's got the Red-Green Dragon deck that everybody was expecting, that we've been talking about the whole time. This is the big new deck coming out of in particular out of the Star City Games circuit last week. Draconic War, Thunderbreak Regent, Coursers and Mystics and Caryatid, Stormbreath, Xenagos, Dragon Lord Atarka sitting on the top of the curve. Working so far for Olle. I don't know if loss was limited or constructed, but got to be feeling good 5-1 with 2 rounds to go. Namsung Wook on the other side, apparently going with his MTG Mint teammate Li Shitian's favorite deck, the Jeskai Ascendancy combo. Yeah, pretty sure this is card for card the same thing we saw Li Shitian playing a couple rounds ago.
Hall of Famer also Olle Rade, you will see.
Oh, yeah.
One of Magic's early stars.
Yeah, 5 top 8s spread across the first 3 or 4 years of the Pro Tour. Pro Tour 3 winner. That was Columbus.
In Columbus, yeah.
Format? Deck? Do you remember?
Oh, I have no idea.
Ice Age block constructed.
Oh, man.
He played a spider deck.
Really?
Yeah,
oh.
giant trapdoor spiders.
Different game.
Yeah, hilariously, he actually showed up intending to play the junior tournament, but like his friends didn't make it or something, and he wound up entering the seniors. Just won the whole thing.
All right, he's going to fire off a Draconic Roar here.
No dragon to reveal, though.
But no dragon to reveal. He's also got another Roar sitting on top of his library. He's probably pretty happy to find a target for it here. It only hits creatures unless you reveal a dragon, then you get 3 into the player as well. But against this Jeskai combo deck, any of the mana creatures that you actually get to kill with it, you're pretty happy about.
Yeah, if you get to kill one, you totally want to.
Sylvan Caryatid being the #1 creature for Namsung Wook, simply for the fact that it can't be killed by cards like Draconic Roar.
Yeah, Nam not particularly close to putting the combo together. Does not have the Jeskai Ascendancy in his hand. Does not have the Retraction Helix either. And now he doesn't have her mana creature. I mean,
so not a whole heck of a lot going on here.
Yeah, he's got an Anticipate to go start digging. He's just got to piece together like 3 pieces of it.
Now, Olle, on the other hand, doesn't really need to piece together anything except for mana and creatures, and it looks like he's doing a pretty good job of this. as he is going to be looking to get as quick of a clock as possible on Namsung Wook to just limit those draw steps. He wants to keep him from finding his combo pieces. He's not really well equipped to interact with what Nam's doing, especially in game one here. These burn spells, not the ideal interaction. And in he comes for damage here, doing some math, going to drop Namsung Wook down to 14, make that 13 as Nam cracks a flooded strand.
Ula will also be competing at the Magic Online Championships next month. One of the players qualified won one of the monthly MOX tournaments on Magic Online.
And here's Anticipate as well for Nam. This is all end step. Anticipate, one of the great pickups for this deck.
Oh, yeah.
Really helping it dig to find those combo pieces as he rips a Caryatid off of it here.
Then Wayfinder off the top. It's not a bad turn if he's got... Yeah, he has a land. So actually, does he have a green land? It's on an island. I'm not sure he has the ability to play 2 mana creatures this turn.
It does look like he can play Mana Creature and Tormenting Voice if he's still short on...
Oh, he's short lots. He doesn't have the Ascendancy or the Retraction Helix. He can either play Tormenting Voice or Dragon Mantle. Looks like he's going to lead with Tormenting Voice.
Quick update from our back table. Ben Friedman up a game over Craig Wesco in the early stages of round 7.
You're at 13?
Yep. Doesn't look like Ole's going to be able to kill Nam in one turn. It's going to take 2. So this is 4, 6, 7, 10. Yeah, how much mana can he make with with Xenagos now that I look at it? You know, he just drew Crater's Claws.
That's a good point. He's pretty close, right?
Yeah, he is. So you can +1 to add X mana in any combination of red or green, where
Yeah,
X is the number of creatures he
Or
has.
so he has 8 mana, so he can Crater's Claws for 7. I don't think he. I think the land in his hand comes into play tapped. I think it's Temple of Abandon.
Well, it looks like he's going to get a peek here, though.
Right. Yeah. Courser could find him a land.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can Crater's Claws for 7 and attack for...
2, 4, 5.
Okay, it's not a land on top. Presumably, Caryatid is going to block Courser.
That's right.
Yeah, so he gets through for 2. Not quite lethal. Oh, Mystic and Caryatid are mana. Is that lethal?
I think it's 9, right?
Yeah.
Game 1?
Right. Got him to 2.
He's got him down to 2, so he's not quite able to finish off that quickly, but he's definitely put the ball in Namsung Wook's court and says, look, go off now.
Right.
Or we'll call this one a game. By the way, another update from our back table. Shota Yasuoka and Adrian Sullivan are playing blue-black control combo. Mirror. And apparently they've got 22 lands on the battlefield, no other permanents.
The fastest game of draw go ever.
Ever. They're just like draw going. They both know exactly how these things play out. There will be a flurry at some point. Maybe there's already been one, but nothing stuck so far.
Yeah, they have to play fast if they're gonna end. If they're gonna actually end games in that match. Wow.
And I'm sure they sit down
Jeskai
and know that.
Ascendancy off the top that turn for Namsung Wook.
Now, is it enough, though?
I don't. Not yet.
He's got to be able to not take 2?
Well, he's got to. If he Dragon Mantles into Retraction Helix, things can start happening, right?
Okay.
He gets to draw off the Dragon Mantle and he gets to loot off the Jeskai Ascendancy.
Here we go.
Rattleclaw Mystic was the draw off the loot from Ascendancy. Now the card draw from the Mantle. Second Jeskai Ascendancy. Does not have the mana for that. I think he's out.
Scoop phase?
Well, I mean, he maybe. Oh, I think he has a second Dragon Mantle.
That would be the last of his. That would leave him with 1 extra mana.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Commune, but which he can also cast. But I mean, with only 1 mana creature, he gets pinched on mana pretty quick here.
That's right.
Like, this Dragon Mantle doesn't generate any mana, but the fact that it'll trigger the untap for the Caryatid means it doesn't lose him any mana either.
Yep.
Ula does coverage as well.
Yeah, he's a regular on the European Grand Prix coverage team.
That's right.
Dragon Mantle draw.
And
He's got another Dragon Mantle.
there's a land.
Can keep going, sort of. With a mana
Has he not
confluence.
played a land this turn?
No, he had 4 last turn.
Okay. Go down to 1.
Oh, he's playing the second Jeskai Ascendancy.
There it is.
Okay, well now Dragon Mantle starts to turn a profit because 2 triggers means you can tap the Caryatid in between, actually make mana.
He drew a Caryatid with that loot and discarded it. Meanwhile, Olle Rade can just sit there with his hands folded and hope this works out well for him.
Right. All right, trigger. Untap.
Yeah, F6. Yeah,
Caryatid doesn't do anything. Is Retraction Helix alone enough from here? I think it might be.
Since he has a second Ascendancy.
Right. The 2 Ascendancies, the 1 Caryatid means he can cycle the Dragon Mantles at parity essentially forever.
Oh, this
Helix?
is a big one. Look at
Helix?
this.
No, Yavimaya Coast.
He's got to see a lot of cards this turn. Update on our back table. Felipe Valdivia has won his first game against Michele Ancona.
Now here's Commune with the Gods.
That
Yeah.
leaves him empty on land,
Yeah.
on mana, on
But-
floating mana.
Yeah. Wow. Ascendancy number 3. That's not going to get the job done. I mean, maybe he gets enough mana floating.
Wow. Every
Is it?
draw step, there's this huge.
Oh,
Was that the
I saw a
Helix?
flash of blue.
I did too. Get rid of this one.
It's a reveal, right? Yeah.
And now he's resolving finally the
Commune.
commune.
There's the Retraction Helix. Namsung shakes his head.
Maybe it was an anticipate? No, I think it's a Helix. Oh,
One.
was it anticipate, Randy? Could you see? He didn't quite let us see it.
I'm pretty sure it's Anticipate.
It must be anticipate.
Helix on the Commune where he couldn't take it. Is Anticipate.
Anticipate.
Trigger.
He finds a land.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Yeah, he really
That's the loot.
gets his value out of each one of these.
Taps the Caryatid in between Jeskai Ascendancy triggers, so it gets a floating mana.
Finds
That
another
loot
land.
doesn't help. Time to resolve the Anticipate. Tormenting Voice. Land. Retraction Helix.
Helix. Did he just get there?
I think so.
To target.
Yeah, now he can pick up the Dragon Mantles and replay them. He can draw his entire
Wow.
library.
No idea how it works.
Oh, it's like, I have no idea how it works.
I don't know how
You
this
gotta
works.
show me.
That's great. So Nam basically said, look, I'm going to pick up my whole deck. I can
Yep.
play everything. I've got everything I need to go off. And Ole just coldly
Show
says, I
me.
have no idea how it works. It's too good. But it does feel like Nam has stolen this game.
So Nam is saying, I've now demonstrated a loop.
One blue, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pass.
Okay.
Yes.
But you have one blue in your pool, right?
Yeah.
Every trip through the
This
loop.
is blue, right?
No. No. Red.
Red?
Yeah. Same. All right. My God.
Okay.
Yes. It's this. Okay. You. The protector is this.
Pardon?
What did you decided? This. Okay. Well, my draws.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Good. Me or draws.
I don't understand.
So he wants to know,
Nam
have
has
I
demonstrated
demonstrated
a
the
loop.
loop? Can I draw a bunch of cards in a row, shortcutting it without having to go through literally every trigger?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's this.
And Ula gets it.
Yeah.
Or this.
So you don't trigger these?
Yeah.
You don't draw and discard? Or
Or this. Chat.
Yeah.
They're having trouble
I'm not trying
communicating.
to, I'm not
Yeah,
trying to be shady. I just...
Yes. Yes. And now combos. Yeah. I just.
Okay, good.
Yes. Now combo.
Tell you, the judges are earning their keep today.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Been a lot of action down in the
Repeat.
feature match area.
Yes. You no. Is that distributed?
Okay.
Okay. This maybe.
Now, Ula's okay with him
So,
drawing it. Uli was trying to confirm that
What-
Nam
what
did
he's
not want to
saying
trigger the
is,
ascendancies.
Here is
Right.
a clear loop,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
so he just want to draw the deck.
Sure.
No problem.
No problem.
Yeah. Is this draws?
Yeah, it was the question about are you triggering the ascendancies that Nam was just. His English is improving.
Yes. Not bad at all. I mean, we knew what he meant.
Okay, now he's found altar. He's found the altar, which is the kill card. Now every trip through the loop, he can mill Ula. Ula may make him demonstrate this loop as well.
Though
But yeah,
Ula probably
Ula's
doesn't want
seen
to show
enough.
him his whole deck.
Exactly.
And that is
Ula's-
it. Wow. Nam Sung Wook pulls it out.
Wow.
That was insane. He did not have a lot going into that turn.
No.
And he turned that into a game win. Olle gunning him down to 2 and in the end 1. But Nam Sung Wook pulls out the game there. All right, we'll be back in just a moment after these messages.
Ultra Pro is the place to go for all your Magic accessories. With card sleeves, deck boxes, playmats, and portfolios showing off the best Magic art, Ultra Pro is the standard for safe storage. Visit ultrapro.com for more information. Standard is the name of the game at Dragons of Tarkir Game Day. Put what you've learned from watching the Pro Tour into action on April 18th and 19th at your local game store. Visit magic.wizards.com/game day for more information.
And welcome back to the feature match area here in Brussels. Let's take a look at what's going on in this control mirror that we were talking about earlier, Randy.
Nice.
Shota Yasuoka versus Adrian
Awesome.
Sullivan. And look at this!
Love it. This is still game 1, presumably.
I would assume so.
Adrian Sullivan with the trademark cards upside down so you can read them. Something basically only he does, but that he's been doing consistently since about 1996 or so.
Old dogs, new tricks, etc.
Wow, hey, looks like we got here just in time.
There
Adrian's
is a
going for
flurry of action.
Ashiok. And they're going to fight.
Oh, there's a fight here.
No, really no. Reveal a dragon and say no. Looks like 2 dissolves. Countering a dissolve and a Silumgar Scorn.
Yeah.
Did Ashiok actually resolve?
You.
Ashiok resolves.
Wow.
Adrian Sullivan.
Go.
Not expecting to find any creatures. He's expecting to deck Shota Yasuoka.
And it does look like that is a pretty clean route to victory here if it were to stay that way. But is this Ugin? Wow, here's Ugin now for Shota Yasuoka. So even though Adrian won that particular counter war, Yasuoka's picked a much bigger fight here.
Is there
It resolves.
untapped Perilous Vault for Adrian?
Yeah, but that doesn't do it, right?
Just keeping track of what's going on.
Yeah. Exile all non-land permanents. So does this force Ugin to at least make sure that Ashiok's gone? -3.
Count again?
It does.
9 cards.
You know, it's interesting. I think he -7 there.
Did he think he was going to get the vault? He didn't make that mistake.
No, he didn't make that mistake. He knows it's not going to get the vault.
So
He must have just rather have had it in his graveyard than let the Perilous Vault exile it. Oh, that's why. You know what? Shota is running the land, the Haven of the Spirit Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And if he has Ugin in his graveyard, he can actually get it back later.
Awesome.
Yeah, and if he lets it sit on the battlefield, then Adrian can fire off the Perilous Vault. All right, let's take a look in on table B. That's the one over on the left there. And there's Michela Ancona versus Felipe Valdivia, and Felipe is up a game here. Yeah, so...
yeah, the way that played out, Adrian did the count. He got his Ashiok into play. He had drawn so many cards that he was the guy on the hook to get decked.
Mm-hmm.
So he went for his Ashiok. He got the Ashiok down, but he only got to take 3 cards away from Shota's library. So once Shota destroyed the Ashiok, Adrian was like, let's do the count again. Uh-oh, I still have less cards than you, and Adrian Sullivan conceded the game.
Yep.
So Shota Yasaoka wins game 1. He would have decked Adrian in 8 turns. Adrian said, let's just go to game 2.
Awesome. Great stuff from 2 control players there. So,
yeah, they literally played a game to natural decking in the amount of time that like the Red Green Dragons deck took to play Ascendancy combo. And this is a game 1 here in Kona, or is this game 2?
This is game 2. Okay. Felipe Valdivia is up a game and looking pretty good here as well, as he's crunching in there with a Tassiger, though he is down to 8 life. But an active Tassiger looks pretty nice. He can even fire it off here and start drawing some cards. It looks like the only card left might be just be that Hero's Downfall in his graveyard.
So this is Esper control for Valdiva?
Does look like it.
Nice. So Anticipate and Silumgar Scorn, the control tools we expected all the control decks to have. Ultimate Price makes your mana a little better. But yeah, Narset Transcendent and Dragon Lord Ojutai hanging out. The white splash.
I like that.
I do too. Those cards are both great.
Perhaps not in line with flavor considerations revealing Dragon Lord Ojutai with your Silumgar Scorn, but hey. Siege Rhino here for Michela, and that is going to get dissolved. Does mean, though, that Tassiger's not getting active this turn. But if status quo is maintained, which it is now not.
I can not scry. I know the card.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just asking if I have to remember you. No, it's okay. So it's like Mr. Gary, okay.
I know the card on the top.
Yeah. Ah, okay. No, I just for you.
Okay.
I will exile Tazigur.
Okay.
Yeah, so Felipe did not scry
Right.
with his dissolve, but that's because he knows what the card is and he'd like it, so he
Yeah.
just declined. So Michela was just making sure, like, hey, can he do it still? What happens? And
Yeah, it's okay.
Felipe's like, nah, we're good. I would like to draw that card. Let's see what it was. Couldn't quite see. All right, so let's see if Michela can find some type of pressure here. See if he's got, I want to see what this card is in his hand. It's his last chance, nothing. He's passed a turn back. Why don't we jump back over to our main match, Olle Rade versus Namsung Wook, with Nam scraping out that first game on the last possible turn at 1 life.
That feels like how every win with Ascendancy combo works, though.
That's true.
You wait until the last possible turn, you dig to find whatever part is missing, and you know what? You either get there or you don't.
That's right. Ben Friedman has defeated Craig Wesco on our back table 2-0. So Ben's going to be 6-1. Ojutai Bant for Craig Wesco.
Oh, wow.
And against Abzan control for Ben Friedman. Speaking of control, Namsung Wook taking a little bit of a different tack here.
Well, the Mountain Stars for
Ram.
Ula can't possibly be good.
Yeah, and he's now facing down a Nyx Fleece Ram, which is going to do a good job of blocking some of the bigger ground threats, as well as gaining a bunch of life here for Nam.
Here's a forest, finally. Caryatid on board. Dragon Mantle's been acquired. There's a Jeskai Ascendancy in Nam Sung Wook's hand. This
so
game
Mixed
looks...
Fleece Ram not actively contributing to the combo, but the rest of the pieces seem to be falling into place pretty nicely here.
Yeah, the Forest is the one that's not contributing to the combo. You
Yeah.
can't cast Jeskai Ascendancy with a Forest.
But next turn he can cast it. So the pressure builds over there on Nam Sung Wook's side of the table, while Olle Rade really isn't able to do much at all. He's just going to play a Caryatid.
He's holding Thunderbreak Regent Xenagos. So, I mean, his hand is all right.
Is he holding a
At 4?
Draconic Roar?
Not according to my display. He's holding a Display of Dominance.
I'm just wondering if he's going to go for the Destroy My Own
Oh, Destroy My Own Caryatid.
Caryatid here. You know, he can't do it now, but...
He can Crater's Claws to do it.
You know...
I would.
If the window was open, feels like that's one you want to climb through, because you're going to take out the Caryatid, which is really important for Nam, both from combo and just straight up making mana, like it's his red source right now. And then also you take out the enchantment as well. So, you know, this is one of those spots where Ole's really hoping that this doesn't get disastrous here, although now a
Wow,
backup
now you
Caryatid,
get 2 Caryatids.
Well, you wouldn't. It's just Draconic
Oh, I'm thinking
Roar.
of Bile Blight.
Yeah. So, and that probably makes that play just significantly worse. In fact, it just does nothing, right?
Yeah.
None of this even works.
Yeah, you had me in Bile Blight
I did.
land.
I was, for some reason, in Bile Blight mode as well, but clearly I was off
Only
there.
Bile Blight that
Apologies
trick
for
works
that.
with.
Yeah, we saw that earlier, so I think it's stuck in my head. But now we're on a really tough spot here for Olle Rade, as Nam Sung Wook is developing his mana and is under no pressure. He's just... Right now, Ole has no clock on him whatsoever, so Nam Sung Wook can just take his time, craft the hand, make sure everything's safe.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Ascendancy in hand. He just had no reason to commit it to the board. What if his green mana gives him the ability to destroy my enchantment? I wouldn't want to have that happen.
He's deep in the tank here on this scry from his temple. Not much to do from Nam Sung Wook's side of the board, but watch and see if Ole can come up with some type of clock or disruption or something. Ole was so close to pulling out game 1.
Yeah. Yeah, if he'd had Ferocious for Crater's Claws, he would have had it.
Yeah.
It's the 2 points
that's
short.
right.
A bunch of 2/2s.
All right, so Thunderbreak Regent's going to be the play here for
tap
Ole.
out for a 4/4 flyer.
That's the best he can do.
The fact that he's tapped out may mean that Nam Sung Wook wants to go for it here, or it may mean that Nam just has a couple more turns. Yeah, okay. It's like, all right, you're tapped out. I don't have to think about what crazy things you might have in your sideboard now. I've got the Ascendancy. I've got the Retraction Helix. He's got the Dragon Mantle to bounce. We're done.
So did Ole remember how the combo worked from last time? Because before he said he had no idea how it worked, but now it is in full effect here. All 4 pieces in play for Nam Sung Wook, and he is going to be able to go off here.
Yeah, Nam's just he's gonna demonstrate his loop.
Yep. And there's the loop, and that's going to do it. Ole did remember. And that's it. A really tough draw there for Ole. He just had nothing going on and was just not able to put any type of clock on Nam Sung Wook at all, who just
That
sort
matchup
of
looks pretty good for Ascendancy combo.
Yeah, you know, it really does. I wouldn't have guessed that on the surface. It feels like Ole's deck is fast. He's got the mana creatures and the big dragons, but...
Yeah, it's not that fast, though.
It's not that fast. It's not quite fast enough, it seems.
I don't have a
All right, so let's head back over to Michele Ancona versus Felipe Valdivia. Last we checked, Felipe was up a game in the match here
attack you
with his Esper control deck. And it looks like Silumgar's doing a nice job of keeping Elspeth tokens out of the way. And here's Narset.
The former Khan.
You see that that Felipe ignored Elspeth on the attack there. He's going just right after the life total here. Ancona's down to 3. When you've got Silumgar, the Drifting Death, so difficult to interact with, all the spot removal from Michela just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's a good one. That will certainly help. Shota Yasuoka, by the way, has picked up his match against Adrian Sullivan 2-0. Played very quickly for 2 blue-black.
Those guys were 6-0, right? Shota's 7-0.
That's right.
Wow.
You know, that's what we always say about Shota, is that he just tends to crush the constructed. It's like, can he put up a good draft result? And he 3-0'd the draft, and now he's off to the races. We're going to be keeping an eye on him for a while.
You can get a look at Narset.
Yeah.
The former Khan of the Jeskai clan.
Yeah, she got a promotion.
This timeline's been good for her.
Yeah. Found a spark and never looked back. And now Narset sitting at 8 loyalty. And threatening to keep drawing a bunch of cards. Maybe even start rebounding some. Michela can only shrug.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Is he rebounding dig through time? Is that what just happened?
Is, yes.
Been way that's got to be an achievement unlocked, right?
That's kind of the reason you play Narset, I think.
To rebound dig through time.
I mean it. Like that. I think that is really like the 1-2 punch that Narset gives you. People have also talked about using end hostilities on rebound just because you can keep your opponent from developing a board for a full turn cycle.
No, that wasn't rebounded. That was just end step.
It was just end step, sure.
Oh,
Nah.
I was gonna +1. Oh, it's okay.
How about you just find one with Narset anyway?
No, I just like Felipe sort of drawing the card, but never touched his hand, revealing it to the Narset.
9, right?
A distinction which has been relevant in the feature match area today. In fact, it was with Michela and Kona as well, so.
There's Narset's best friend, the Dragon Lord Ojutai.
Yeah, this Esper control deck is firing on all cylinders here for Felipe. He's threatening lethal in the air with a very difficult to interact with Dragon Lord Ojutai.
No, let me ultimate.
And that's going to do it. Now, I will say, Felipe wanted
We even
to
had
ultimate.
the emblem ready.
But the ultimate is your opponents can't cast non-creature spells. It would just protect Dragon Lord Ojutai on that last attack for sure. Not one of the splashiest ultimates that we've seen. It would have got the job done there, but he didn't actually need it. So that's going to do it for the feature matches here in round 7.
I did an over in Martel.
Yeah, so that Esper control deck is now king of the hill.
That's
and
right.
7-0.
Felipe Valdivia will be back in the feature match area for next round as well. And like you said, Esper Control at 7-0. There's a few more of those floating around as well in the hands of some pretty capable players.
Yeah, Shota's is just blue-black, right? I don't think he has the white splash.
Just straight up blue-black. Yeah, no white splash at all.
Those guys could run into each other.
Yeah.
Next round.
All right, well, why don't we... so we've got... That's going to do it for round 7 for us here. And interestingly, Namsung Wook, he still keeps trucking along there
6-1
with the Jeskai combo deck. That's one that has fallen pretty fully out of favor. You don't see that.
Yeah, no, I did not expect to see a lot of that. We've seen it twice now. Both MGG mint card guys. I mean, it seems like that team clearly, they have a ton of experience with the deck. Liu Shiqian has top 8'd with it at the beginning of the season. It does seem like a decent metagame call. I mean,
it does seem like a decent because that deck is not considered top tier.
No, it's just not.
It's just not one that people still play on a regular basis out, at the Open Series and stuff like that. You just don't see it. Now,
but
you got to
the Red Green Dragons
points.
Decks, they're slow enough that you have time to set up shop.
It does feel like that. Yeah, and the question is, how does it do against Abzan? Yeah, post-board, they probably have a lot of tools for you, but, game 1, I'm assuming
Abzan's also not pressuring your life total,
though.
It's
not that fast, yeah.
I mean, I feel like the deck you do not want to run into is like a Tarkir's command deck, the fast red beatdown, which we have not seen that much of.
No, that was we've seen a lot of that. It'll pop up in standard from time to time, like a heavily either mono red or nearly mono red with a ton of 1-drops,
right.
And they're doing these things that are just burning cards to do 3 or 4 damage to you, but they can just pile it on. And I haven't seen that out there. I don't know if we're
have
waiting
you seen
for
a Zergo
things to float
Bellstriker
up.
yet?
No.
I haven't seen a Zergo either.
And I was wandering around in the feature match area and with the others, and I'm sure there's a few out there, but the only one I saw was in limited so far. The only Zergo and company. So,
sure.
That's one of those things where also a metagame call, right? If you plan on running into a whole bunch of mid-range decks, that's the kind of deck that can start to fall apart a little bit. But, if you sit down across from like a blue-black, they just shrivel up, when you start playing red one-drops.
It's actually fairly typical of the Pro Tour that the Pro Tour players tend not to want to sort of throw their fate in the hands of the mono red beatdown deck. I think often to a detriment. I mean, I think the deck just gets underplayed relative to what it should. Now, the last Pro Tour we had, a lot of people just said, fine, I'm just going to burn things, right? In Modern, the burn deck was more represented at the Pro Tour, I think, than people were expecting.
Totally, and did well.
But yet nobody ran it back this time.
No.
Or at least nobody that we've seen so far.
No. And I mean, maybe it's just worse. We have seen some type of, burn spell type decks, although not the ones like we were just describing. We saw Jeskai Ascendancy, like the tokens deck, right? That can pile on a bunch of burn damage and incidental damage.
A lot of the Channel Fireball team in particular is on Jeskai tokens. So
there's 2 or 3 of them, I think, are running it.
Yeah, at least 3.
Yeah. So that's something that we're going to be keeping an eye out for as we move forward as well. Olle Rade is going to have to settle for 5-2 right now. So coming down the stretch here, he's going to look for a solid finish to try to keep his top 8 dreams alive. And he's got a lot of work to do ahead of him as well. What about Shota Yasuoka playing his blue-black control?
Shota with that start.
That's who I'm watching. I'll tell you that.
Same.
Okay. Why don't we send it over to the news desk and Richard Hagan.
Thanks so much to Marshall Sutcliffe and Randy Buehler there. That's round 6. We're closing down, 8.5 minutes left in the round. That means a ton of matches, by the way. How are the Dragons doing? Last round, we drew a blank in the feature match area. No Dragons for us. But this time, if you've been keeping score, we had a few. Why don't we take a look at our Dragon tracker? Let's light the flames. And there we are. 23 Dragons have now appeared in the feature match area here in Brussels. The cleaning bill is going to be huge. So, lots more Dragons to come, lots more Dragons of Tarkir to come. Yesterday, though, we did a little crystal ball gazing. We went, who's going to be winning deep on day 1? Let's interview them the night before. We came up with Eric Frolic. He's 6-0, and we're waiting to find out what happened in round 7. But right now, why don't we hear from the Frolic himself? Here's Efro talking yesterday.
Hey there, Marshall Sutcliffe. I've got Efro with me, Eric Frolic. Eric, welcome to the easy chairs.
Oh, yeah.
How's testing going? How long have you been here?
Been here a week. Testing's going good. It's a good group of guys. We got a big group, face-to-face. We have a couple new faces as well this time. A lot of the old faces, myself, Luis, Webb, Raptor, PV have kind of been around forever, and people have fluctuated in and out. Shuhei goes in and out. He's back with us. Face-to-face guys have been great, and we've been working with people like Shahar for a long time, and it's just a good group of guys. It's generally a lot of fun. A lot of people working kind of in their own smaller groups, and not necessarily all working on the same things at one time, but if your project doesn't work out, your deck doesn't work out, you have a good fallback option because other people are working on other things. So it's definitely different. It's not maybe what everyone would expect, but it works.
What have you been working on?
I have been working on a Jeskai tokens deck and a Esper control deck, and those were the decks I showed up with, and those are basically the only decks I've liked besides a couple like green-red, more control-ish versions of decks. But those were the 2 decks I liked going in. Those are the 2 decks I like coming out. I think there's going to be a lot of different decks played on our team, so the Jeskai tokens is a strategy that I really like because of the sideboard options, and the mana's a little bit better. If Esper had a tri-land, I think that would have been a deck that I would have been more likely to play. But Dragon Lord Ojutai is the big one for me, in addition to Anticipate. I really want to play with those 2 cards, and both decks get to do that, so those are the strategies from Dragons I really like.
Now, when it comes to you guys as a team, there's a lot of bodies, right? I mean, you just have, what is it, like 18-ish people now, something in that range?
Yeah, we were able to fire off 2 drafts at once a couple times.
Yeah, at least 16 in that scenario. Now, how do you guys manage the flow of information between? You said that, a lot of times people will get segmented off into smaller groups that are working on different projects and things. I mean, do you have like a daily meeting? Is there somebody that takes the charge on that? How does it work as far as getting the things that each pocket learns spread out to everybody else?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's not something we've worried about too much in the past, as our team generally was around 10 people. Information was pretty obvious, and we would talk a little bit about it over dinner. We'd always say that we would have meetings over dinner and never really did. So we try to have discussions, one big one and one smaller one at various points, but it's not really an easy thing to do. So John Stern actually took the reins. He's the organizational guy.
He's your project manager?
More or less, and has created spreadsheets and easy documents to submit testing information and reports, which no one actually ends up doing because you play the games and you just go play the more games and go play more games, and it's not easy to get Magic players organized in that kind of way. So you kind of play the matchups that you want to play. You spend a lot of time watching Magic when you're not playing Magic. I watch more Magic than I play for sure. I feel like I take a lot in. I learn different lines, and I get to evaluate how the decks actually play, because I'm one of those people who I don't think the numbers matter at all. And this is something that we talk about on something like Constructed Resources. You can't play enough games for the numbers to matter. Even if we got 100 games into a matchup, it's not going to be super relevant data. If you know how the matchup plays out, if you get a feel for how big a favorite, how small a favorite you should be, whether you win or not, doesn't really matter. If they top deck the Fireball or they don't top deck the Fireball, does that change the percentage? No, you were going to top deck it this percentage of the time, every time. That's just what it is. Some of the games you do, some you don't. So having people you trust on a team, people that you're familiar with, the guys that you've been working with the longest, who you know how they work and how good they are at evaluating matchups, those things are really valuable for a team.
Sure.
Because you can listen to what they say and how a matchup plays out. Nothing else matters. Like, if this matchup is really bad, okay, it's really bad. It doesn't matter if you just won 7-3. Like, it's a bad matchup. It's a bad matchup. So. I take a lot of that information in. I want to know how people think matchups play out. I got told a lot of things that I knew couldn't be right. And matchups that I know, this is the single worst matchup in Standard, now you're telling me it's favorable. Like, that's impossible. No. So I don't believe that, and that. Then I need to play it out for myself. But in general, it's just taking in data and going with what I can.
All right. Well, Efro, thanks for taking the time to chat with us, and we'll see you soon, hopefully.
Well, thanks so much to Eric Frolic there yesterday at 6-0. He was up against Rick Lee of Malaysia. Still 30 or so matches to go, despite there only being 3 minutes left in the round. We're going to take a moment to head across to the video wall, and what we're going to do is take another look at some of the cards that join together to make the kind of landscape of the key decks around the format. Now, the metagame breakdown is now up on Daily MTG. You can check that out. There's no doubt about it that red cards are extremely popular. So we're going to get extremely red now in the company of Brian David Marshall and Ian Duke.